my prayer partners in that 4T class yesterday. This is because of you. You've been praying for 10 weeks for me to open up, to have this manifest in my life. You know, it's definitely working. Since my birthday on June 3rd, I've been slowly and systematically eliminating animal products from my diet. And I've not felt this great, I can tell you, emotionally or physically, in many, many, many years. Where I had been depressed and burned out, very burned out, folks. I'm now filled with incredible optimism and energy. It's like a miracle. Am I 100% vegan? Not yet. But I will be. Well, I'm sure by now some of you are thinking, well, that's just fine, BJ. You have become a fanatic. We have lost you to the extremism. To the extremists. But what does it have to do with spirituality? What does it have to do with unity? What does it have to do with me? And certainly, what does that have to do with Father's Day? Well, I'm going to answer all your questions. I am, each and every one of them. Just a moment. Any of you asking those questions right now? You know, 16 years ago, if I went to a UA church and I heard a talk like this, I would have gotten up and walked out probably. So this place is not for me. And I want to underline, I've been in unity since 1994, eating cheeseburgers each and every day. It's okay if you eat cheeseburgers each and every day. This is my process that I want to share with you. So please keep it in that light. But all those questions are excellent questions, and I'm going to begin with one. What does this have to do with spirituality? Let me go back to Will's book. He writes, the word vegan includes every sentient being in its circle of concern and addresses all forms of unnecessary cruelty from an essentially ethical perspective, with a motivation of compassion rather than health or purity. It points to an ancient idea that has been articulated for many centuries, especially in the world's spiritual traditions. It indicates a mentality of expansive inclusiveness because it is a manifestation of the yearning for universal peace, justice, wisdom, and freedom. He goes on, the contemporary vegan movement is founded on loving kindness and mindfulness of our effects on others. It signifies the birth of a new consciousness, the resurrection of intelligence and compassion, and the basic rejection of cruelty and domination. To quote some others, Gandhi said, the most violent weapon on earth is the table fork. Oh, Mom, you're going to have to help me pronounce this. I've been practicing with her, and now I'm blanking, but Pythagoras? Thank you. Pythagoras? Yeah. This is his quote, as long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. Indeed, he who sows the seeds of murder and pain cannot reap joy and love. Now, 2,000 years after that quote came the great Leonardo da Vinci, who said, I have from an early age abhorred the use of meat. And the time will come when men will look upon the murder of animals as they now look upon the murder of men. In our own scriptures, it's written in the Old Testament, the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, the multitude of your sacrifices, what are they to me, says the Lord? I have more than enough of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fattened animals. I have no pleasure in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. Your hands are full of blood. Wash and make yourselves clean. Take your evil deeds out of my sight. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 7, blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Paul, in the letter to the Romans and in his first letter to the Corinthians, wrote, "It's good not to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor to do anything whereby thy brother stumbles. Wherefore, if meat causeth my brother to stumble, I will eat no flesh forevermore. No man or woman liveth unto himself alone, and you are responsible for the stumbling of your brother in the slaughterhouse." Maybe out of sight, but it's not out of mind. Divine mind. Our brothers and sisters in the slaughterhouse, we are responsible for them. And of course, one of the great 10 commandments, what's the title of the talk? Thou shalt not kill. And how about one of the most powerful teachings in all of spirituality? And you find a version of this, folks, in every major religion. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Will has a whole section on the golden rule in this book. And when I answered the question, what does this have to do with you, which I will be in a moment, I'm going to spend some time on what you sow, so shall you reap. But first, the next question, what does this have to do with unity? What does this have to do with unity? Back to a quote from Will's book. Too long for me to write down at 3:30 in the morning. So I'm going to read it to you on page 33. I've been speaking on Sunday mornings, this is Will, at progressive churches and centers, primarily unity churches, and giving seminars on developing intuition. I find in addressing groups of even apparently progressive people that when I begin to raise the topic of the inherent cruelty to animals involved in viewing them as things, and the ethical and spiritual ramifications of our cultural practice of eating them, it seems I must push through an invisible psychic wall that absolutely resists hearing these ideas articulated. Anybody got their wall up right now? I would have, well, 2 weeks ago. It seems to be the unconscious collective denial of the group. This is ironic, since the Unity Movement's two founders, Charles and Mark Fillmore, were ethical vegetarians who decried the unnecessary cruelty to animals involved in viewing them as commodities, and who spoke against using leather-bound Bibles, wearing fur, like vivisection, testing on animals, or in any way harming our little sisters and brothers of the animal world. They strongly encourage people to refrain from eating animal food. Charles wrote on the subject. A lot on the subject. Therefore, in the light of the truth that God is love. So he wrote this in 1915. Therefore, in the light of the truth that God is love, and that Jesus came to make his love manifest in the world, we cannot believe it is his will for men to eat meat or to do anything else that would cause suffering to the innocent and helpless. In 1920, he wrote, "We need never look for universal peace on this earth until men stop killing animals for food." Together, Charles and Myrtle started the Unity Vegetarian Inn outside Kansas City, writing, "The idea and object of Unity Inn is to demonstrate that man can live and live well on a meatless diet." Today, a mere 70 years later, we find animal foods now permeating the menu. And the vegan ethic that Unity's founders wove into the fabric of their teaching has been repressed and virtually forgotten. You know, I just found out that the Unity Inn in Kansas City, folks, was the first vegetarian restaurant in the country. This is our heritage, folks. Yeah. You know, I always knew that the Fillmores were vegetarian. I always heard about that, but I never really gave it much thought. Didn't take it much seriously. There was plenty of meat at Unity Inn when I was there. But after the intro that Nina and Lisa did just a couple weeks ago on this world peace diet, I know differently.